And welcome back, everybody, to the Paws Up podcast. We have episode 107 lined up, and it's been a hot minute since we've had a guest on the show from the world of FIU athletics. All these Paws Up previews we've been doing have had guests from other universities, so it's time to make this show FIU centric again with our guests. So who better to kick things off than Josh Larcom, the head diving coach of the FIU swim and dive program? How are you doing, Josh?
I'm doing really well. How are you guys?
Excited to have you on and talk some FIU diving.
This is technically a new sport because we've had a slew of representatives from the swimming part of swim and dive on this show. Athletes, coaches, you name it. And of course, I guess Jonathan Mayer technically counts too, right? He's an SID. So, so
he's great.
It's nice to get into the world of diving.
Yeah.
Nikki recommended to have you on, so
Oh gosh. Okay. No, Nikki's awesome. I know you guys had Jordan Browning a little bit ago last season, I believe. And then obviously Coach Randy. So now I'm excited to talk some diving.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's get into it, starting off with your origins. So, being raised in Deer Park, New York, that's right in the middle of Long Island, if I'm not mistaken. How did you fall in love with swimming and diving growing up to the point where you realized that this was something you had to pursue as a career?
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I played soccer, lacrosse, and baseball, so this was not on my radar for a while. My high school didn't have diving, really. I mean, they had a few divers, but no diving coach. But I did trampoline. I did some parkour and snowboarding stuff. So they were like, "Does anyone want to do it?" And I really didn't want to play winter soccer, so I was like, "Sure, yeah, I'm in." And I hated doing a bunch of laps because I didn't love cardio. So for me, I was like, "Yeah, put me on the boards." Fell in love with it. Had a couple of local coaches that would come in to do clinics, and that was really great. And then I went to a diving camp. My high school team kind of helped me go to what's now Rip Fest diving camp, but before it was Indiana Diving. And so I went there for a winter camp. One of my best friend's older brother swam at Canisius. And so when I mentioned to the team that was actually training there, their Canisius's diving team was training there at the same camp. And so I was like, "How do you guys know Jake?" And they're like, we're in the middle of Indiana. How on earth do you know this person? And so I ended up talking to the coach there, and he was like, "See you later." And I was like, "All right, cool." And then asked me for a trip in February. I went on a trip in, I think, end of March, early April. Loved the city of Buffalo. Really liked the team quite a bit. And so, I ended up committing there, switching kind of what my plan was. Fast forward, I guess, my plan was med school. So I took a gap year studying for the MCATs, and I ended up coaching at Niagara University, which was the rival school of my undergrad, which was super fun in a lot of different ways. And ended up loving that more than, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like shadowing the doctors and, but I didn't see myself doing it till I was 60 or 70.
Yeah.
And coaching kind of didn't feel like work. And that was something that my parents really advocated for when I was a kid was, hey, like if you find a job you love, you really never work a day in your life. And don't get me wrong, coaching can be stressful, but it doesn't feel like work. I really wouldn't trade what I do for anything. So it's kind of how I got into it a little bit.
So I guess let's bring it back to Canisius College, which you mentioned is in Buffalo, where you began.
Yeah, so it's called Canisius College. I guess now it's actually they upgraded to university. So all my clothing is now vintage, which is kind of cool.
That's where you began your collegiate career as a diver. Okay, I'll stop that.
Correct.
But what did you learn as an actual diver during your time there that you never let the divers at FIU forget about? Like the best piece of advice you learned while you were an actual diver?
I have two that come to mind. One of them is if it sounds like a bad idea, it probably is a bad idea.
Okay.
So trust your gut with that. And the second thing, honestly, is really just kind of like So in diving, right, you get what's called mental blocks. Simone Biles kind of brought it up this past Olympics with the twisties kind of thing, and divers tend to get that quite a bit as well. And so really just trusting the process. I think many divers go through that. And I think, trusting, past experiences, trusting your coaches, trusting your teammates as well. Because again, they've all kind of been through it. And I think diving is a unique sport where, yes, you go against your teammates, you go against the other competitions, but there's this mutual respect of, hey, you're throwing yourself off a piece of metal or concrete and trying to do a bunch of flips and into the water. So whether you have a good dive or a bad dive, you have everyone on pool deck kind of hoping for the best, which is kind of cool. So really just buying into that a little bit.
You kind of spoke a little bit about your coaching career, but your first venture was at Deer Park High School from 2011 to 2014. Just talk a bit about what you immediately learned about being a coach and just how different, it is coaching high schoolers as it is to coaching, collegiate athletes and even Olympians.
Yeah. Well, obviously very different. I think when I was volunteer coaching for my high school team, it was just, hey, like, this is what I know. Hopefully it works. And they were all the same age as me, if not older. So that was different. And I didn't have like a lot of experience to really go off of. It was just, hey, I took in what I knew and what other coaches have told me. But I do think watching and listening to other coaches coach, you get a sense of bettering your own skill. So as an athlete, you kind of get a little bit better. So if I saw like a correction that needed to be made on like a high schooler when I was in high school, it was like, okay, wait, I probably do something similar. Obviously then coaching, Olympians and NCAA qualifiers is a little bit different. And luckily I've had some great athletes, both at club when I coached high schoolers for there and working with college athletes as well. I got to be able to kind of bounce ideas off of club kids. I think high school and, youth athletes have a little bit more fun with it typically because they're just getting into it. There's not that really expectation except from, either their parents or, their teammates. Whereas there you have like NCAA qualifiers, Olympic athletes that obviously have expectations for themselves that hold a little bit more weight. So I think now it's just, having a lot more confidence in what I'm saying and my experience of working with a lot of different athletes, different level of athletes, but also just talking to other coaches. Like I talk to a handful of coaches probably weekly and monthly. So I think pulling ideas and getting different perspectives are always useful.
Did you ever at any point coach swimming, or has it always been diving for you? And if so, what are like the differences between coaching each side of that, I guess, the sport?
So technically, yes. There's a town not too far where I grew up called North Babylon, and they had like a summer league. And so I also coached swimming with that, and I taught swim lessons as like part of like the instruction, I guess. I think swimming coaching. Okay, so like obviously I don't love cardio because that's why I coach diving. Like there's some cardio in diving, but I'm not constantly trying to catch my breath. So that's hard and different. And so I think that's what makes that part of the sport different and harder. But I think the mental part of diving, like I interact with each athlete every single rep they do. Whereas in swimming, like you can give them a set, and because they can't talk while also swimming, you don't really have that interaction all the time. You might have it in between sets. Hey, like, at the end of a set, middle of a set, when they're kicking and they're up for air, like you can have a quick conversation. But diving, I literally, if each athlete does 60 dives of practice, I'm giving a correction on each athlete's dive 60 times.
Wow.
So there's definitely a lot more trust. In my opinion, I think there's a lot, maybe not more trust, but there's a lot more room to grow that trust and bond because I'm literally interacting with each athlete every single minute and second.
Oh, that's super sick. Anyway, this all takes us to almost heaven, West Virginia, where you worked with both the men's and women's swim and dive teams as the diving grad assistant. So just
Yeah.
briefly talk a bit about your time there and maybe the workload difference coaching both men's and women's teams there, maybe compared to now where it's just women's here at FIU.
I think the workload's different in two ways. One, I was a grad assistant, so not only was I in grad school taking a bunch of credits, I was also, an assistant coach. So I was very fortunate that the head coach of the diving team at West Virginia at the time, Carla Helder, was very kind and let me split the pool deck. So what I mean by that is how the pool was laid out is there was 2 3-meter springboards, a full tower, like 1, 3, 5, 7, and 10, and then 2 1-meters on the other side. So she might have taken the 3 meters and then like the 5 and 10-meter, and then I would take the 1 meters and coach the 7 and 3-meter platform. So, or vice versa, right? So she really put a lot of trust in me to like coach whatever athletes were on that side that day. And so I'm super grateful for that because I think it really gave me a chance to kind of grow into my own kind of coach while still kind of carrying her plan and her vision for the program. The load in recruiting is definitely different. Obviously, right? You have to recruit, potentially 2 spots per gender versus here at FIU, I only have to recruit 1 to 2 per year. But I also think too, like, there's different pros and cons to coaching both a dual gendered program and a single gendered program. I think for my specific coaching style, I do like the smaller roster because I'm very detail oriented and small pieces of coaching and like different habits. And I think with West Virginia, there was, 12 athletes. And I think that's very hard to do without having, multiple different practices where you can have 6 to 8 athletes per practice versus, going right now I have 6 athletes now, and the most I've had in my time here is 7. And that's kind of my sweet spot, I think. But I think, again, they, guys bring a different energy. But I think if you recruit the right type of athletes for how you want to recruit, you can actually still get that same kind of energy and vibe, which I'm going to be honest, I've worked and been a part of West Virginia was dual gendered. My own program was dual gendered. Niagara was dual. So I've worked with 3 dual gendered and 2 single gendered programs.
Wow.
And I love single gendered more personally. Like, I love coaching the girls. They're great.
So let's talk about your way to FIU. Just when did the conversation begin? When did Randy Horner reach out to you that this was an opportunity for you to come down here to Miami, somewhere you'd never been before, I'm guessing, before the coaching job? And just what was that all like?
Yeah, I definitely never came here for coaching. Being from New York, I feel like you guys have probably been here for a little bit in Florida. A lot of New Yorkers tend to come down to Florida quite a bit in the cold times of the year. So I've been to probably Miami maybe once. Otherwise, it's just been Orlando. So yeah, let's see. I was at men's NCAA coaching PJ Lenz at the men's NCAA championship with Carla, and the diving coach before me, Nick, I guess had just left, and so Coach Horner, Randy was getting feelers out, and happened to know that I was there and asked to have a conversation. So we ended up chatting for like an hour in a conference room. And most of the hour we were talking about baseball and just life and, what my plan was, what my goals were. I asked him, what he loved about here. And so to me, it definitely was kind of an interview, but it didn't feel like one. Then that turned into a Zoom call with our now associate coach, Brian, who's been here for quite a bit. And that was again, it felt like a conversation. It didn't feel like an interview. And then I was interviewing for 2 other coaching jobs, 1 other college and a club position at the same time. And this was, I think, my second on-site interview out of the 3. And I had the third one immediately after. Like, I think I had like 6-hour layover in Morgantown before going back on a plane. So the entire time, I kept comparing it to here. This felt like home. Obviously, I got to, kind of work with, see the athletes train a little bit, answer a lot of their questions. And yeah, like I said, from the get-go, it just kind of felt like home. It felt like a place I wanted to be for quite a bit of time. Again, being from New York, I love the warm weather. I love the beaches. Long Island, I grew up 20 minutes away from Robert Moses, or 30 minutes from Jones Beach, an hour from New York City. So for me, Miami was kind of like the perfect blend, but I didn't have to shovel snow or use rock salt. So for me, this was like a great selling point.
Okay, definitely not the first person to love the fact that we don't get snow down here. But was that the biggest culture shock when you made the journey to FIU in South Florida for the first time, or was it something else? Was it the culture, the food, the palm trees, the lack of buffalo wings? What is it?
Okay, so wait, that's a good point, because if you guys know, I've been here almost 4 years. I've yet to find like a good wing spot. So if you guys know any, I'm all for recommendations, because once you go to Buffalo, I still can tell you my favorite wing spot in Buffalo. Like, it's so good.
Is it the
I think
Anchor Bar?
No, okay, so this is a hot take. So Anchor Bar was the original wing, but like if you're from there or like went to school there, lived there for a while, like that's probably in most people's not top 3. For me, it's Bar Bill for sure. That's landslide winner. Gabe's Gate is also really good. And then Duff's is probably my third one. That's a really good one. But anyway, for sure the food, I didn't love seafood. So for me, like moving here, I was like, okay, I am trying everything. And on my interview, on campus interview with Randy, Brian, and the team, we went to a place called Monty's, no, not Monty's. Maybe it was. I don't know. Anyway, they had like mahi fingers, which I've never had before. And that and churrasco, I was sold. I didn't need anything else.
Oh,
Churrasco's really good. It's really good.
Really good. And then for dessert, I'm a big sweets guy. So like tres leches. Oh, very good. Big fan.
Really good. Really, really good.
Yes. I mean, as far as bomb wing stops here in South Florida,
there's not many.
I think it's pretty surefire, but Flanagan's always pulls through with the wings. I love the wings there at Flanagan's.
Flanagan's is good. Yeah, and then it's like all those fast food spots, right? So nothing too special.
I've tried. Okay, so Flanagan's, I will say it's not bad.
Okay.
But I'm also like, being from New York, I was like a big person on pizza and bagels, and so like you find places that are like enough, but it's just not the same. And unfortunately, with wings, that's kind of where I'm at. And I can like, it's fine. Like again, there's way more diverse food options, which I think that's really something I really dove into a little bit, pun intended. But I think having a team full of international athletes as well, like one of my favorite tradition that we do is an international potluck. And so like I've been able to try like home dishes from people from Egypt, Finland, Hungary, Bolivia, Bosnia, like and so for me, like that's what's really cool. And I think that was like the big culture shock. Like I've now met people from at least 15 different countries that I probably wouldn't never have met if it wouldn't have been for here. And like, again, being a dive coach, being, knowing the swimmers pretty well and having a good relationship with them is something I really enjoy for sure. But yeah, definitely the food.
Okay. As far as fire pizza spots, I can't help you at all with that.
Man, let me tell you, we go to Pyology staff pretty regularly.
There's a spot right very close to FIU. It's a new one, and I've gone with Jonathan actually a couple of times. It's called Golden Lizard. It's right there. It's really good.
Okay, I have seen that on my way home, and I've had doubts. So if you're telling me it's good, I will happily try it.
I really liked it. We've gone there a couple times. I like it.
I'll shoot you a message. I'll let you know how it goes. That's literally like on my list of things to do now this weekend.
There you go. You got to go at least once. Yep.
Something that's on my list to do right now is to go over around FIU athletics, who to watch from the 3:05 as we take a short break here. So let's just get right into it. We're starting off with football. They're looking to bounce back after the bye. They're going to be taking on the Yukon Huskies over at Storrs, Connecticut, over at Whitney Stadium. That's going to be on Saturday, October the 4th at 3:30 p.m. It is a nationally televised game. You can watch it over on CBS Sports Network. Their next home game actually going to be is not for a while. It's going to be on October the 21st against Kennesaw State. That's Vice Night. So definitely get ready for that. Moving on is men's soccer. They're actually going to be at home over at Leyva Family Field on Friday, October the 3rd at 7 o'clock. They're taking on Temple in a conference matchup. That can be seen over at ESPN Plus if you can't make it. But I recommend you do, because there is a trading card giveaway at that match against the Owls of Temple. So definitely be sure to check that out if you can. Likewise, women's soccer is going to be at home for their next match over at Leyva Family Field. That's going to be on Sunday, October the 5th at 1 o'clock when they take on the Liberty Flames, a rematch of the CUSA title game from last season. That should be a fun one. But if you can't make it, that'll also be at ESPN Plus. 1 o'clock start time there. Next up is indoor volleyball. They're going to be in the midst of the Conference USA stretch of the season. That means they're taking on Kennesaw State over on Friday, October the 3rd at 6 o'clock, as well as Saturday, October the 4th at 1 o'clock. That's going to be over at Kennesaw, Georgia. Actually, their next home game isn't going to be until October the 17th when they take on Delaware. Conveniently, that's also Vice Night. So some good stuff. And, of course, we have to talk about swim and dive, as the TYR Fall Classic is set to kick off here real soon on Friday, October the 3rd. It's a two-day event, Friday, October the 3rd at 5 o'clock. The second day is the day after, Saturday, October the 4th, with a 10 a.m. start. They're then going to be hosting Liberty in their next matchup, which is the final day of October, and then November the 1st, also here in the 305. So that was your look around FIU athletics. You know, Josh, I feel like a lot of people have forgotten at this point. What does TYR even stand for, and what is the actual name and address of the new location that Swim and Dive will be competing here in the 305?
So I didn't know this until I got here. It's pronounced tier instead of TYR. Didn't know that till I got here. Obviously, they do a lot with our team, so I made sure to get that right. And so, as for pool, it's going to be at Doral Aquatic Center. Both moving forward, our home competitions are going to be there, which I'm super excited about. As a full team, we've been training there every Saturday so far since season started, and then divers have been practicing there Tuesday, Thursday mornings as well. Really cool pool, a lot closer to campus than Biscayne Bay's campus. It's a 15-minute drive versus a 45 to an hour drive. So, I think the range of distance is hopefully going to get a lot more people interested. I know it's not easy making an hour trek on a Friday afternoon, especially in Miami, as well as a Saturday morning. So hopefully 15 minutes is a lot more doable. So, yeah, we're excited. I know that girls and the coaches are we're itching to compete already. So, that's something I think it's going to be a fun meet for sure. It's always a good invite. We have a bunch of teams that come. And then, obviously we're excited to go against Liberty, their new conference opponent. So having them come get an idea of, one, what they look like as a team, but two, just seeing how we rank up against them is going to be really exciting.
It's almost an unfair question to ask because of the talent you've coached here already, but who would you say have been some of the greatest athletes you've had the pleasure to coach here at FIU so far? And by gosh, there are Olympians that have come from this school, gosh darn it. So who are just some of the names that you instantly think of?
Man, that's hard. I love all the girls I've coached. They've been really fun to work with. Okay, I have to put Maha just because she was the first athlete I've coached to a second-team All-American, and that year was her best finish since her freshman year. So there was a 4-year gap of her not getting to a second-team status. So for me, that was really cool. One, to see her do that, but then personally just to have that kind of competition as a coach. Paige Burrell. Again, more so because to see her, end her career at Olympic trials, I think that's a huge as an athlete, I just think obviously, that's one of the pinnacle events that you could really do in our sport. So to see her kind of shine in that, man, this is a good question. Yeah, I think those two are probably the two that come to mind instantly. I think right now too, like Ave Osro, I think was a really good, fun athlete. I think having her come in as a fifth year, not really sure how to end her career, to being in the Big Ten and never podium, like earning a podium spot, to earning her first podium and first A final in an event, let alone podium in the 3-meter event the next day, was really cool. So for me, it's moments like that that mean more than really just like the person I've coached. Like I think seeing them, shine and really overcome some challenges, both mental, physical. That's really kind of what I remember more than, hey, this is the type of level of athlete they've kind of, been or could be, kind of thing. But yeah, no, as a team, we always say that each year is different. Even though, we have a lot of returners that always come back. I think as a team, it's always different. Our mentality is different. Our goals, some of them obviously stay the same, but I think the roster I have now, I have great leadership with, Chris Keenan, who's a junior. She's our team captain, or one of them. And she's the only diver that's a team captain. So I think that speaks a lot. Brooke Megdal, who's a sophomore, I think she had a really great freshman year last year. So I'm excited to see what she does. So yeah, man, it's a lot of athletes stand out. So that's a really hard question, but I think those are probably the ones that stick out the most.
Last season specifically, Josh, was the program's best ever diving finish at the American Championships. Just talk about what made that group so successful and where do they rank more or less with the groups that you've had the chance to coach?
I think historically, right, as a program, we've had obviously really talented athletes, but I think it's only been maybe one or two. Whereas I thought, having been here, having been able to kind of build the squad how I kind of wanted to see it grow and become, I think last year was a good testament to that, right? When I first got here, we lost 3 athletes and I brought in 5. So and we started with 6 when I first got here. So I think to really have that culture turnaround in such a short time helped. But I think last year really hit different because every single person was someone who I really brought in, who I really thought could make an impact. It was just a full team effort, right? From the team event, we went from third. The first year it was scored to second, I think showed, and that was with, a freshman, a sophomore, and a fifth year in the team event. Chris, who's now a junior, her freshman year, she got injured, sadly, right before conference. She's made a full recovery, obviously. So to see her kind of bounce back year 2 and walk away with a silver in the team event and a bronze on platform was huge. And then, Brooke getting a silver medal on platform as a freshman, I think was huge as well. So, I think last year was just more of a team effort and everyone contributed. Like platform, we went, Brooke got second, Chris got third, Ruska as a junior got 4th, Ave got 9th. So that was like a huge booster to our team that kind of put us a little bit within range going into the last swim relay to try and win. And so I know that, the coaching staff on the swim side, like Coach Horner and Brian, really kind of appreciated that. I know the swimmers were really amped up for it. Like I said, I think at the end of it, that was more of everyone had a hand in it versus I think previous years before I got here was maybe 1 or 2 athletes that really stepped up. And again, I think the conference got tougher as well. So I think that kind of speaks to how bad the girls really wanted it and trained for it.
How much extra motivation is there this year? Obviously, last year didn't end the way you guys wanted at all. But just talk about the motivation this season, how much more there is, and just about the group that you have this year. A lot of returners, a couple newcomers, I'm assuming as well. Just talk about that group.
Yeah. Natalie Kobat-Witten interviewed me last year at the conference championship. No, 2 years ago. And my first year in the American, we lost by 11.5, and I put a sign on the door of my office. And so I now have a 1.5 sign on both doors. So the motivation is always high. And I think that's one of the reasons why we all love this team and love being a part of it is we know that's kind of the goal, and that's kind of this, the standard that we're really trying to reach. But yeah, man, I will say I think how we handled it as a team really spoke more. After the first night, we were already down 54 points from an unfortunate DQ. We had some misses on the diving side as well, right? So but the way that, I think a lot of teams would have handled it after that is like, all right, hey, we're just going to do our best for second. And it was like, nope, we're going to keep fighting for first. And so to have it come down to the relay, especially in a 3.5-day championship meet, that's insane. That doesn't happen often. So I think the environment in it was really cool. But the meeting we had afterwards, man, there was nothing but love and support. And I think as a coach, that's really all you really could ask for is that, hey, obviously you're there for each other in the highs, but to be there maybe even more so in the lows, I think just meant a lot more. So I know every returner that's back, man, they're hungry, which is cool. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think for the rosters, like you said, I do have 4 returners. I did have a pretty young squad last year. Right? I had a junior, 2 sophomores, and a freshman, along with a 5th year. This year, I have 1 senior, 2 juniors, 1 sophomore, and 2 freshmen. So very excited to see what the freshmen do. Obviously, we have a long way to go from now until February, but that's something that, each athlete and I have kind of talked about both for, mid-season goals as well as conference and postseason goals. So, yeah, man, they're hungry and they love to compete. And that's something that I'm really happy that I get to work with some athletes that not only love the sport, but really want to do well in it and give it their best every day.
Alrighty, Josh, you've been awesome so far, and we thank you for spending some time with us today. Let's start to get into some fun rapid fire questions here to start to close up the shop. Who is the funniest diver at FIU? I think you mentioned you have 6 or 7 divers to choose from here. Who is the funniest?
Yeah, so I have 6. It's week 3, but man, Sophia, who's one of my freshmen from Sweden, she is hilarious. I laugh probably daily because of her, whether it's just something she says or she will rush off the board and just immediately look over as she's falling, and it's just really hard to not laugh. So I'd probably give it to her.
Right now, what's the best move you could do on the diving board at this moment?
What's the best move I can do?
Yep, you. Uh-huh.
Okay, so I probably 2, maybe 3, but I think one is, I don't know. I post it anytime I get on the water, it's probably what I post. It's called a death drop. So you go off, you stand at the back of 10 meter, and your back's facing the water and your toes are on the edge, and you literally just fall backwards and then tuck your feet over. So you can basically do a backflip. So that's something I would rather do than just jump off. Occasionally I can throw a back 2.5 off 3 meter springboard. I haven't done it yet this year, but I did it once or twice last year. I probably do it once a year. And then 1 meter, I could probably still do a back 1.5 with a 1.5 twist.
Wow.
And then I did a standing backflip the other room.
That's sick. That's super sick. Where is the go-to spot on campus for you to grab a bite to eat?
Tropical smoothie. Way too often.
The popular answer on here.
I agree.
It's right near Ocean, honestly, and it's not because don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's just the convenience of where it is to Ocean Bank in my office. It's I could be there and back in 15.
Oh, whoops. It was my turn. All right, here we go.
That's
I don't
okay.
want them to make it here, but are the Buffalo Bills going to the Super Bowl this year?
I'll say it every year, but yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, I tell the divers I'm a realistic optimist. So
Okay.
typically, I will always look for the brighter side of the realist option. But I genuinely feel like especially, I mean, the Chiefs are like what 1-2. We beat the Ravens.
Yeah, they are 1-2. Yeah, they beat the Giants.
Beat the Ravens. So I'm not, at least for now, we have home field advantage. And I truly think that if we can host the AFC Championship in Buffalo, it's over. And not to mention it's the last season in Highmark. And so I don't know. I'm a sucker for a storybook ending.
Sure. So I never like to bring up that school from Coral Gables, but I don't know if you saw the ending of College Game Day there, but what did you think of Pat McAfee's dive there? Like, what would you grade it? What does he need to work on?
Okay, so I did watch it. Yeah, I know the coaches. They're really well. They're really good guys. I think it's really first. I'm going to shout out Pat because most divers don't jump off 10-meter. Like that's a different level, whether it be due to facility accessibility or just like fear. So the fact that he just got up and jumped, like automatically, I mean, I already liked him and had respect for him, but like instantly increased. He was a little, I mean, from the angle they showed, he was a little forward. So like, I don't know, most people's instinct is to look down, and that's something you really don't want to do when your head weighs like 8 to 10 pounds, because then it's just going to carry you forward. So I would have just maybe said like, look, like be straight ahead and then just look with your eyes down. And then his feet were apart a little bit. So that's like an uppercut, which isn't fun. So I would have said just squeeze and keep your feet together a little bit more. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I like I said, it was fun to watch.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And Josh, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. That was the latest episode of the Paws Up podcast. We hope you enjoy, and we're going to get right back to football coverage with the Paws Up preview, and not to mention the soccer coverage from Rick and Seb and all those boys as well. So, yeah, till next time, Paws Up!